Deshmatji. Thank you, Maureen, Pat, Djamel from France, Maureen and Pat from the north of England, Shankarji here. Thank you all for joining us for another session of Golden Memories, and Djamel bringing us all together, Maureen and Pat, just to take from where we left off in our part one of the interview, where Maureen and Djamel were talking about the days, golden memories with Shri Mataji in 1977 when Djamel, you got your self-realization. So you were a student studying aeronautics then, and so you now a retired aeronautical engineer. Maureen is running her own accountancy firm, and Patrick, Pat a retired project manager of a local council. So thank you all for joining us this evening. And Shankarji, we're still working. Don't have the leisure to retire just yet, a building surveyor. And thank you so much for joining us this evening to share your golden memories with Shri Mataji in those days when there were very, very few of you around. So would you like to start, Maureen, about from where we left off? I'll share some photos and we can talk through the different times and the different moments you had to just to give an atmosphere of how those times were, because this is the late 70s we are talking, when there was no internet, there is no TV like we have now 24/7. There's media, you can access social media somewhere or the other, or television. It was a time when there was a quality of life. Life was slow and more relaxed, let's say.
And no mobile phones.
And no mobile phones either. There was just landline. That's right. Yes, thank you.
And no Sahaja Yoga, actually. It was
Yes,
just speakers with Shri Mataji.
Yes.
in the
That's
West.
right.
So here is a photo of Shri Mataji in Oxted in Surrey at a beautiful home. Would you like to talk us through this, please, in those early days?
Well, Pat and I, obviously, we came together on the same day, which was the 15th of September, 1975. And we got the opportunity, after meeting Shri Mataji at a person's house in London, to actually go to her house in Oxted, where this picture was taken. And Pat didn't get to come the first time, but the second time he was there. And Shri Mataji invited the seekers, we were a completely mixed bunch, mainly hippies, although there were some people like Gavin and Jane who worked and had their businesses, but we had given up all work and anything in order to seek, basically. And so when we met Shri Mataji and she invited us to her house, we went along. And it was for a weekend, so you actually stayed there. And this was from her front room. And she had many beautiful statues of deities from India. You can't see them all there, but there's one small one there on one side. And Shri Mataji gave talks, she gave us food, and she basically, I mean, that room there was quite a big room. And do you remember, Pat? It was absolutely full of us. There were lots of us, weren't there?
Yeah.
And we had afternoon sleeps. There was one picture of people all sleeping on the floor in there, being an afternoon nap, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, we used to do that.
It was so homely and comforting to be in mother's presence. And in I mean, what a privilege.
Yes, and I mean, we had no idea of protocol, no idea of anything really, except what we felt from mother, which was this incredible just vision of her as a deity, basically. And whatever she said to us was, at the time, just everything was just pearls of wisdom. Everything she said, what I can remember that first time I met her, feeling that she had basically at that second decided which finger related to which chakra, and if she felt like it, she could swap it round. It was all her knowledge. There was never a moment that you felt that this was anything other than coming entirely from the source.
Amazing.
And she looked after us literally like a mother, you know, in terms of absolutely everything. I mean, I don't know how much detail you want us to go through.
Well, it was completely otherworldly. It was completely. I mean, that was where I had that vision of Shri Mataji as Mother Mary when she was working on me, and it somehow didn't seem unusual.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Everything seemed entirely normal. Um,
Yeah. Mm.
and it was the outside world that seemed
Yeah.
normal.
Paint us a picture of the outside world, and we'll have this photo of all of you who are on the panel today.
Yeah,
Just to give a sense of where you were and how you were, because in the present we are at a different phase of life, but those
yeah,
were the days when you were just, you know, students studying
yeah.
or trying to figure out the purpose, the meaning of life. So
Well, Pat is there behind the lady stood up with the red sari on, who's called Marie. Unfortunately, you can't see his face. And Jamal is beside Pat there. And I'm knelt down behind the little boy who's my nephew Pat's son, Kevin. I'm on the Shri Mataji's right, so the left of the photograph.
yes,
And that sari that I'm wearing was one that Shri Mataji gave me. And the
wow.
same with Marie and with Christine, the other lady sat the other side of Kevin. And as you can see, Shri Mataji is wearing a garland of sandalwood, because we didn't know about garlands or how to do them or how to make them. If you can imagine, you know, it was completely outside our sphere. We were learning literally everything. And Shri Mataji had to guide us. Satpal, the gentleman stood up on Shri Mataji's right, on the far right. He was a pujari who helped us go through what pujas and things that would
With
enable us to.
Sanskrit mantras and things.
Not
This,
mantras, no. He didn't know mantras really, did he,
no,
Pat?
no idea. No,
No,
when the time came for the arty, we used to get
a record.
a record out about a movie about this Indian lady who went to America and became, you know, generally went down and got caught up in everything, and eventually realized her roots came from India and came out of it. But on the picture, on the cover of the was this Indian girl in a miniskirt holding a glass of champagne and a cigarette, and and we used to play the original version of the
It
arty,
was
you
the
know.
Sri Ganesha, Archie, wasn't
No,
it?
no, it was the original
The
version.
original version.
Om Jai Jagadishi Hare, I think it goes.
Yeah,
Oh yes,
remember that.
yeah,
Yes.
And we just used to clap politely
yes.
while that played.
What was the role of Pandit there? What was Mr.
He did everything because we didn't know anything. He used to, not only that, he didn't just conduct the puja, and he used to give us a little talk beforehand, like a sort of little Shri Mataji, you know. And I remember once he was giving one of his talks, and I was really bored, and I looked at Shri Mataji, and she gave me the smile as if she was quite bored too, and was waiting for him to finish. But he was a very sweet guy.
Yes.
Did you see that picture? Ah.
Yes. So
That picture you've just showed, you know,
The
it's a
other one.
different picture, isn't it? Yeah.
this one?
Yeah. This one, yeah, it's a different one, huh?
So you can
Wow.
see Pat, even though he's looking down, and
Well,
Jane.
I was upset. I was upset with Kevin. That's why I didn't want to be photographed.
Yeah. So
Jane, who took the original picture, is now in there instead of. So Satpal must have taken this one.
Okay,
Yes.
Jane.
right.
That's
So
right.
this
Yeah.
is Jane. Yeah. Okay.
Jane on the left, yeah. On Shri Mataji's right, stood up.
Yes.
Okay.
And-
Sushmita, can you show the previous picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because sadly, I think Satpal most probably is no more. Gas has left, who is the second from the that left, and then Gavin, of course, gone. He left a few months ago, I think, and Douglas left last year. So in fact, of all these people, I think last man standing, Pat, you and me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jamel,
I
if
know.
we could ask, what did you make of it? Because was this your first puja here with Shri Mataji? And
It must have been the second puja, because the first one was the Guru Puja on the 1st of July.
And in
Oh, yeah.
Gavin's house.
A bit later.
Yeah,
this is
That
the
one,
that one.
yes.
That one. Yes, that one.
Yeah, this one, the first puja, first Guru Puja. And it was
that
the
time.
first Guru Puja outside India.
Yes.
Remember when Mother said we should put put the tape recorder on to get when she gave her talk, and I said why? Because we're all here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I remember
Yes,
giving those flowers to Mother, and I said, "Be
They had
careful, Mother,
thorns.
because there were thorns in them." I
Oh,
just
yeah.
spotted, and she said, "I have to take the thorns as well as the flowers."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is it's a bit like it looks like yesterday, because I remember this so clearly.
Yes, I know.
Tell us
Yeah.
about
It's
your
clear.
then.
It was.
Where was this and when exactly? Do you remember? Where in London? When?
It was Gavin, North Gower Street, 160 North Gower Street,
169 in London, yeah, near Euston,
Euston.
which is where we went for our second meeting with Mother after we met her in the flats the time before. And then all subsequent meetings were at Gavin and Jane's there.
Yeah.
And Shri Mataji used to sleep on that sofa. It became a sofa bed.
Wow.
We'd all take vibrations.
Amazing. So
Yeah, it was amazing, huh? Oh my God. It's
It
quite
is.
amazing because, Gavin, it was thanks to him actually that we were having all those programs on Sunday.
Absolutely. Yeah,
It
we
was
wouldn't have had anywhere to go because we were all in
we
squats.
didn't have it.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, wow, amazing.
It's a
So
Is there any particular anecdote you remember from that occasion on that day? I mean, it's going back a few decades now.
You mean when this picture was taken, huh?
Yes.
It was-
I mean,
When this,
been
yeah,
up-
we had. I remember we having, we did have a puja, and I even remember something which is because I was having difficulties stopping. I was smoking, and I remember in the morning when we slept in Shri Mataji's house, and in the morning when Douglas woke up, he said, "It's amazing." He said, "I feel like I have a smoker's throat," And I didn't say anything, but I knew it was from me, That it was there's such collective consciousness, there is such a collective consciousness. You could feel anything that is happening around you. There was such a sensitivity, and we were such a small group. And Shri Mataji's attention, actually, this is something that we don't realize now, but when you look back, Shri Mataji's attention was on a very small group of people, very small group of people. So
yeah.
that happened. Shri Mataji was aware if you did a puja, the next day she would call, she would talk to you. You say, "Oh, I had my attention on you," and then you say, "Oh, sorry, yes, Shri Mataji, I was doing a small puja. I was working. I was worshipping you, or something like that."
Beautiful.
I remember that was when Kevin was there with Shri Mataji.
So Kevin, it's your
My son, yeah. He
son.
earlier Mother was working. I can't remember if it was that particular day, but it was that time. Mother was working on him and asked him to put. I think she said to put his finger on her
agya.
Yeah, and then she was asking him, "What can you see? Can you see anything?" And then he said, "I can see a man and a donkey." And I thought
and a lady on a donkey. Yeah.
No, he said the way it happened. He said, "I could see a man and a donkey," and I thought he was messing around, and I got annoyed with him. And then Mother said, "Yes, and is anyone sitting on the donkey?" And he said, "Yes, there's a lady sitting on the donkey."
wow.
And then he said, then she said, "Can you recognize who that lady is?" And then he said, a great big dragon has come and eaten up the picture. And Mother said, "That's Catholic conditioning. stopping him from recognizing me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you thought he was mucking about.
When he said I can see a man and a donkey, I was thinking, oh no, he's messing around.
Oh,
It's amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
gosh.
But this was like 18 months or 2 years after our first visits to
Yeah.
Mother's house.
Yeah.
So it sort of jumped forward quite a lot. We'd learned quite a lot by then.
Yeah.
I mean, by then we'd already been to India,
Yeah.
and we learned a lot there. That was, really shook us up because we had no idea about protocol at all. I mean, except this natural reverence we felt to and love for Shri Mataji, but we had no idea of rules and regulations and what you should do and what you shouldn't do or anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And how was it for you, Djamel? Because you came from a different background where you automatically
Do you remember that time I showed you around Mother's house and I was showing you
I remember very well, yeah.
I was showing you
Yeah.
all the deities. I had no
He
idea
showed
how
me,
shocking it was for you.
I remember that you took me around and I knew you liked that. You remember the Shiva statue?
Triggered.
You loved that statue on the mantelpiece, the white one,
Yeah.
and the white marble one. And then you took me upstairs. You showed me the Ganesha statue. And this statue has amazing vibrations. So I put my hands towards it
yes, it's
in
there.
a sort of diffidently, of course. And I felt lots of cool, and then I started to, that's the start of. But I was very lucky actually. I had Pat with me because he taught me a lot of things. He sort of pushed me out of my, stupid conditionings, in some way.
Because I wasn't aware of them.
Because that might resonate with seekers now and in the future.
Yeah.
Please.
And then what was amazing was I remember Douglas in the lounge downstairs where the little statue of Shiva was. There was a big it was a bay window, and he said, you see, Shri Mataji actually painted the ledge, which is the bottom ledge of the bay window, in white. And he said, if you go and you sort of move your hands over it all the way from one end to the other, you'll feel cool. And it's true, it was so cool. And that was painted by Shri Mataji, And of course, there was another statue which was impressive, very impressive. It's the Kartikeya statue, which was
I remember that.
outside CP's room, you remember? It was in that other drawing room, yeah.
I remember that very well.
There was so many other, but the whole house just vibrated with so much peace and there was so much fragrance, Shri Mataji's fragrance, that you can, someone, when you go to India sometimes and you go to a place which is full of marble and perfume, it reminds you a bit of Shri Mataji's house, hers green. And the other thing that I loved was the fact that, we were like kids, just moving around and following Mother wherever she went.
Yeah.
You were all to mid-20s.
I think we were, I was 23 then, but we were just like kids with Shri Mataji, and following her, and then she was explaining everything. And then, what was amazing was, and I was talking to Gilma the other day, I said, can you imagine, Shri Mataji never used a mug, She always gave tea to her guests in a cup and a saucer. She always asked the servant to bring some pakora, some snacks he would make, Shri Mataji had a very sort of princely way of receiving people. It was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And we came from really very modest backgrounds. We were just university, just students, Gregoire used to say we were all barefooted students, He said we had nothing to offer.
Yeah.
Actually, I must admit, Shri Mataji and Sir CP, they funded and financed so much of even the trips and all that. Even when we went to Supermare, we went to seminars. Shri Mataji, she
took
was
us in her
actually
car. Yeah.
We went. She paid for everything. She transported us. I think we didn't have any travel budget or anything like that. We started later, you remember? Maybe a year or two later.
Absolutely. We were just, we didn't even think about it. because it was
I remember.
her
I remember first green, Maureen. I don't know if you remember, but after we went to St. Albans, we had that seminar. We did go and visit Shri Mataji. CP was abroad or something, and we went to meet Shri Mataji in Hers Green. We stayed with her. That's when I had that, that sari of Gagangar Maharaj. But during that time, and during one of these, one evening, we were around that dining table, and Shri Mataji was talking. And then at some point, she said, down the road, you see that road that comes up, which leads to her house in Hers Green? She said, down that road, there are deities guarding my house, and they're checking that no one comes, and they're really actually guardians of Shri Mataji's house. And then she immediately said, that St. Albans, that house in St. Albans where we had the seminar, the deities went there before she came to the seminar, and they visited the house, made sure that everything was okay. And then she said, of course, but the deities do stay there for a few more days before leaving, So said, no, I thought that was amazing, which means that, wherever we were then, I mean, that's probably why when Shri Mataji leaves a place, it's like a trail, She leaves a trail behind her, and you feel those vibrations for quite a few days, and you also feel her fragrance, which I thought was quite amazing. The other thing that really, I always remember, I tell Gilman about it, and when Pat came to St. Albans, he came with Kevin. Can you remember they were all fighting with water guns? Playing with water guns.
Sounds typical, yeah. Sounds typical.
And I remember Pat saying, we went to this place and we started actually shooting at these ducks, giving them self-realization in a park. I thought that was so funny. And then the funny thing was, when there was only actually, I think, one colleague of mine who came around, and he was going somewhere else, and he saw Pat and Kevin, going all around, running about. He said, this is not normal. And I was laughing because I thought it was so great. And to me, it was just great, that father and son were just, running around and playing like kids, So he thought, he was a bit surprised, but it was an amazing time that we had in St. Albans, of course, and all the other stays that we had in Hers Green with Shri Mataji. And the puja.
We went into the cathedral, didn't we, with Mother then at St. Albans?
Yeah, St. Albans, exactly. We went to, and Shri Mataji knelt down in respect of, out of respect and reverence to St. Albans, whom she said was the guru who was beheaded by, he was a Roman soldier who was beheaded by the Romans for his Christian belief.
Yes, about St. Albans and St. Pancras as well in the last interview.
St. Pancras, it so happens, St. Albans is connected to St. Pancras through the railway station, the St. Pancras station. And in fact, he was also a young Roman. He was only 14 when he was executed, by the Romans. Also because he wouldn't actually let go of his beliefs, Christian beliefs.
Wow. Tell us more about the cloth of Gagangiri Maharaj that I understand he gifted to Shri Mataji, and then
I was actually, Shri Mataji was all the time working. Most of the time he was working on my nadi, which is not surprising for someone coming from a background like me, a Muslim background. But I had, I think I suffered from a bout of black magic when I was a kid. And that's at least what she confirmed, and I know where it comes from actually. But still, what happened was she said, okay, she wanted to tie a dhoti around my body. So she said, go to my cupboard and get a sari. So I went to the cupboard and I picked up one sari, haphazardly, of course. And when she saw it, I said, okay, that's Gagangar Maharaj. So she tied it, and I was a bit shy because I said Shri Mataji was you know, I had to take my trousers off. She said, I won't look, don't worry. I'll put the sari without looking. You know, I was so embarrassed, but she put the sari, she tied it, and everything was, you know. And there's a picture of that. I have to send it. I have to send it to you all. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
And I think it was taken by Maureen.
Yeah, likely. Yeah.
I think it was taken by you, Maureen. It was amazing.
I think one of the things is that Shri Mataji literally chose us from different backgrounds, and she said that we each represented something that she had to work out in mankind. So we all had different, very different sort of thing, either problems or backgrounds. I mean, I know Pat and I, brother and sister, but we still had quite different problems, if you like.
Men's characters, possibly.
Well, we'd been through different things, although we'd both been through broken marriages before coming to Sahaja Yoga, but they were quite different. And Pat had his son, and you know, we were examples of people who were seeking in a certain way, I suppose. And then Gavin and Jane and Djamel and Douglas, a very intelligent man, but he had suffered greatly. Tony, Greek, very different again. So it was an interesting thing. Marie from France,
Yeah, Greg.
brought us along, and Gregoire. Yeah, you know, I mean, all sort of levels of society and backgrounds. And although Pat and I were in squats as hippies when she met us, we came from a reasonable background. You know, our parents had been in abroad and worked in the civil service, so it was just all sorts.
Just explain to us briefly what hippies and squats are for the audiences who are not familiar with the term, please.
Well, at that time, I mean, it started really in the 60s, didn't it, Pat? The hippie movement. It was young people generally, although not always so young, who had gotten really fed up with the material world. And they felt that they obviously felt the zeitgeist, you know, that there had to be a change. Unfortunately, they got just sideswiped by people with drugs, as that was the way to seek, if you like.
Well, the drugs opened them up to the idea that there was God existed as an experience, you know, in everything, and that they didn't, but they went into it completely unprepared and without any real knowledge, just like opening up all their subtleties willy-nilly to all kinds of things around them.
But it didn't necessarily have to be the drugs, because you know, that damaged so badly that it was an attack as well, I believe. Because
the whole thing,
you know,
but we were trying to live outside of society.
Yeah.
You know,
while being in squats, which is in society, so it was all a sham.
Well, it
to
was sort of
some
pretty
degree.
much on the edge of society.
I know, but we were using other people's properties,
Yes.
other people's electricity.
Yeah,
it
didn't occur to us. You know, we thought everything belonged to everyone, so nobody had any right to, you know, charge anything for it.
Fair enough.
Well, you may say that, but you know, it was definitely. Have you read Gregoire's book, Degat Pricon?
No.
No. He describes the world, the perfect world before you know, everything went into dissolution. All the higher beings and all the seekers and everyone, and how they lived this perfect existence, and then they came down to be born, and they were completely, you know, to me it always felt like he was describing them being machine gunned. Basically, they came down in all innocence to be here for mother coming, and just got absolutely
absolutely
caught. Absolutely, you know, like spiders in a web. You know, because they were desperate. We were seeking, and we didn't imagine, as Pat said, that it was bad.
We didn't think there was any dangers. No,
you just were giving everything up to find yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and that all working was a distraction. money was a distraction. It was on the right lines, but it was all twisted. It's a bit like Mother says that ideas come from the unconscious, but if you're not straight, they come via the subconscious and via the superconscious, so they get twisted. So you see the thing, but it's like in a distorted mirror, so you take the wrong choice.
But also we took for, I mean, it's like the scene was set by the divine for seekers to be able to have that much freedom to think they could just give up their jobs and go around.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine the 50s? People went to work and that was it. You know, there was absolutely no question. Mother said when she first came to England, everything was black and white. You know, bowler hats, suits, umbrellas, you know, and like that. And then suddenly it's like the colour came.
Yeah.
But with it came this sort of anything goes. What was it Mother said? Her thing was, people said, so what? Sort of, what's it matter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what came in, is that people had that sort of, why can't you? Why can't you? But, you know, do what you like. And, you know, I went off to try and go to India before I met Mother. Luckily, I got saved and came back and met her here. But a lot of seekers were damaged in lots. And then, of course, you got the false gurus turn up.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
and
if Shri Mataji had come instead of the false gurus, there would have been no problem. But of
yeah.
course, the false gurus always know when she's going to come, and so they come before and ruin the
Yeah.
seekers.
Yes.
I mean, it would have been completely different.
Okay, let's look at this photo at Finchley Ashram, and this one is
Yeah.
19.
And there's the Sri Ganesha statue.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
it.
that's the famous Sri Ganesha statue.
Yes. That he felt the vibrations from. And this is the front room that we always met Mother in. It seemed huge because it was always full of people, but it wasn't that big.
Well, it was our meditation room, wasn't it, in the
Yes,
ashram?
it was. Yeah,
Oh, that's a nice picture. Yeah, that one.
The nice
beautiful.
treatment
So-
Shrimati showing. Tell us.
Yes, what is Shri doing there?
He's
What's the-
working on scales, of course.
She used to tell us to look through the candle at her agya.
Okay.
There's a
Which was
whole
what we-
lot of us around her then, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did-
So we're all looking at Mother's agya on her forehead through that flame to clear our agya.
Okay, front and back Agya's. Agya.
Well,
I don't know. It was just Agya at that point. I
just
mean,
agya. Yeah. Everything was like it was like a new language. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, look
you didn't know the details. And I think that's in Mother's house because you've got the tea set and
Wow.
everything.
probably.
Probably from Derbyshire, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. In
I was
China.
just looking at the furniture, whether it's actually her house rather than the
I don't
Sahaja Yogi's.
know.
But that's the Sahaja Yogi's house.
Mm.
And that's the pose that Mother would take at the end of the puja, just as she did later.
So just for the benefit of people that probably just coming to understand, or coming into Sahaja, just got the realization or haven't got the realization at all, and looking at this on WhatsApp, that's a mudra, is it? A mudra that's
It's
with Shmataji's hands in that
giving the
position.
blessings.
She's
Okay.
giving and her hand held up is protection.
Okay.
Yeah,
With
I
the
will
other-
support you. And it's one giving, the left hand giving nourishment and the right hand protecting.
Okay.
And she always took that pose at the end of the puja, just for the vibrations. Yes, you forget. But everything that happened was like a new book, like we were reading a story for the first time. Because, as Pat said, there was no one to tell us. We didn't know any mantras. There were no mantras.
I noticed, I mean, I'm getting a bit observant, but I noticed her little finger is separated from the other finger.
Yes, yeah, quite often. Quite often Mother would do that.
That's another puja.
It's saying, just says London.
Yeah,
I don't recognise the wallpaper in that, so I think that's at her house.
We went to so many places. This was Bath, wasn't it?
Oh, this is Bath, where, yes, I couldn't understand how the artist could study Mother's face to draw her and not be
He
absolutely.
couldn't, could he? He complained that her
No.
face kept changing.
Yeah,
she said, yeah.
yeah.
She complained, yeah. She said that she said to Shri Mataji that her face was so subtle, that she was having difficulties actually fixing
Wow.
the
You all
the
three
picture
went
of the clothes.
at that time for the seminar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was on the way back from
Oh,
Western, wasn't it?
That was the time we went to Avery, wasn't it?
I
Yeah,
think so.
Avery,
I think so.
exactly.
Yeah,
Every stone circle.
Yeah, it's a huge one with a
Yes.
village in it.
Near
yes,
did
And
she comment on the stones?
yeah, she was saying this stone is Sri Ganesha, and feel the vibrations of this one, and this is joined to that one, and stuff like that.
Mm.
But I don't remember the details.
She
Yeah.
said to Gregoire, she gave him her lipstick and said, draw a swastika on that stone on the right-hand side when we went in. You remember?
Goodness.
wow.
Wow.
She asked him to draw a swastika with her lipstick. Yeah.
Mm. Yes, small motivation. Yes. Yes, I mean, just to an outsider, if you were a Christian or Hebrew, but the hands and the feet, the significance of the hands and the feet of the guru, of the incarnation, obviously blessing, protecting, and then the feet.
giving the vibrations flow where the vibrations flow from.
Okay.
And also, it's perhaps important to remind the viewers that the symbol, the auspicious symbol here is the swastika. It's a very sacred, auspicious symbol right from ancient times.
Yeah, that was stolen by the Nazis and used in reverse for evil, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And so in more recent times, it's associated with Nazis, but it couldn't be more wrong.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's definitely at the ashram at Finchley Road again.
Oh, who's this?
This is more official.
Okay. I don't.
It's probably just official engagement.
Just official engagements, yes.
Okay.
Oh, there you are, Jamal.
Yeah.
Yes, hooray!
Great.
You remember Alex? The pilot.
Yes,
he was
Alex the pilot there. Yes.
pilot.
And do you remember that
Yeah.
girl, Wendy, the one that's below your arm? She was really nice. It's a shame she got lost.
Yes.
And then I remember that girl on Mother's left side as well. And look, there's my sign, J. What was that? Something. J. Shri Mataji Devi, or we always saying J. Yeah, because
Here on the top.
Is this?
yes.
This is
And J. Kalik, the Satya Yoga, and we all thought everything was going to be amazing straight away.
Yeah.
This is right before or after Sahasrara Puja in Finchley Ashram, apparently, from what the photograph's telling us. And everyone, all of you, seem to be in this state of joy. I mean, there's so many smiling faces there. Sort of
You see Gregoire in the bottom left.
Yeah, and he's
This
probably
Bala as well on the right. And
Yeah.
this is Alex Bondarenko, and this is Bala.
Yeah, I remember Alex.
One on the left. Yeah, here.
Remember Alex, yeah.
Alex and Uncle Bala.
wow, amazing. Goodness.
It's
That's working on Mother is turning someone's agya with her agya finger there.
Goodness.
She used to do that, put her finger on the agya and then turn it.
Yeah. Rustam Bajorji.
No, that's not Rustam. That's Satpal, I think.
That's good old Satpal.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was fine. Okay. Yeah, because
Rustam wasn't there yet.
No.
That was Easter, that one. Remember we had that giant candle.
Tony got that candle that blackened the ceiling. We've gone so
I know.
there it is. There it is, a great big church candle.
And it covered the carpet in wax. Took us ages to get it out afterwards.
Wow.
You remember what the owner of Finchley said, when we were about to move out? You remember?
No.
He looked at the meditation room. He said, "God, it's all black." He said,
It
The
was.
whole-
I know. It's that candle was made everything. The curtains, everything.
"The ceiling was all black," And then
Yeah.
he looked. Well, he was a bit surprised.
Well,
It was
the first day we moved in, it was the same thing when we had that guy you knew called the fire brigade. Remember?
Yeah.
Because of the potatoes in the oven, and the fire brigade turned up, and the landlord came, and the whole we were clearing the place with Adjoan. The whole place was full of smoke, and all sorts of things went crazy. I don't know how we stayed there. Really, I think Mother must have talked him round every time.
Yes, I think so. Well, it was Mother that found the ashram and paid the first 3 months
Both of
rent, I
them,
think.
both Acton and
Yeah,
and that one.
absolutely.
This was the third ashram in effect then, isn't it? Or it was
Well,
It was
you can't really.
second.
Well, we lived at Gavin and Jane's for a while, but that wasn't exactly an ashram. But
No.
Acton Lane was the first one, and then Regent's Park Road.
eventually.
It was here that Gregoire stayed and wrote went down every day with the Advent for Shri Mataji to revise and
in this place in
this
region.
place. Yeah, and that's where I
Yeah,
typed the Advent as well.
We used to go every morning to Ashley Gardens. Shri Mataji
Yeah.
correcting and crossing
Rewrote it every day. Yes,
Yeah.
and I had to retype it every day.
Okay.
So,
And-
Shushmita, I have to leave you, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. Just one moment.
So I'll.
Okay.
Oh, thank
There
you
you
for
go.
joining again. We took a little pause because our guest Djamel had to leave, and we have Pat's dear wife Greshna. Greshna, thank you for joining us. And Maureen, thank you for staying with us. And Pat, let's listen to the story you are just talking about. One of the yogis in the picture, Gus, who was found by Shri Mataji, I think one of the first people that she rescued from the streets in London. Could you please paint the picture for us and tell us more about it, both of you? Thank you.
Well, he was he was ill. Mother took him back home and kept him there for 6 weeks.
At her own house. Yeah.
In her own house, yeah. And her husband was horrified.
Yeah.
He said, "This man is going to die in my house." and
She
and
gave
she
him
must
Sir CP shirts and things to wear.
well, he was wearing his suit. The CP
Wow.
came back and found him wearing his suit. He was speechless.
Wow.
Because Mother said that it would confuse the boots if she changed his clothes.
Yeah.
No, it's a fact. She made us all wear smart clothes to get rid of our hippie boots.
Mm.
Because the hippie boots wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recognize us.
Yeah. So we did all sorts of things like that. I was just saying just now that I can't remember what led to it, but we were talking about. I was just saying that Mother told me in Brompton Square 10. Oh, we were talking. He was saying that we'd done a lot of. Djamel was saying we how much work we all did in the early days, and we were saying it was great fun, and we wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Yes.
But I was just saying that some 10 years later, Shri Mataji was talking to me in Brompton Square, 10 years, something like that. And she said, you've done really well in Sahaja Yoga. And I kind of thought, oh, done really well in Sahaja Yoga. And then she said, yes, you're still in it.
Yeah.
She also said that she put all the rough stones in the foundations.
Oh, all the
Yeah,
house.
she said foundation stones, they won't see them. She said there were some pretty flowers coming along in the future. But the foundation stones have to go below the ground and they have to be solid.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
And she also said they put all the rubbish in.
Yeah, it's a hardcore and the rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's hardcore. Yes.
I guess.
But yeah, it was, I mean, just incredible. incredible to be there at that time and to hang on. You know, we watch people come and go, and we weren't, I'd say, the best specimens, but we hung on. You know, we
we
didn't.
certainly did. I remember the first time Shri Mataji I got really caught up. I caught 2 lots of flu, one after the other. And Mother said that you got all caught up again and you're affecting other people in the ashram. And she said, I think you really ought to be sent out away from Sahaja Yoga for a while, or it's going to cause problems. And she said, but I can't do it because I'm worried you'll get lost out there. And I said, no, Shri Mataji, I promise I won't get lost. You can send me out. Don't worry about it. I promise I'll be back.
Yeah. I used to go and visit Pat, and all the others are going, why, you're just attached.
Yeah, I know. I got a bed sit a couple of streets away from that ashram.
Oh, so you did actually remove yourself from
the... yes, yeah. I threw myself out and worked on myself.
Okay.
And
what's that?
I was going to say that's quite a risky thing to do, wasn't it?
In those days, especially.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't feel it was. I didn't feel it was because you know, whatever Mother was, that was it. You know, it took a while to realize, you know, to see the whole picture.
She put me out as well. And I can remember standing there in her flat, and she said, yes, I think you need to leave the ashram. And obviously I looked devastated. So she came and stood next to me and whispered in my ear, I have to say like this. And then she came and stood in front of me again and said, yes, you must leave the ashram. So I felt completely okay, because I knew that the 2 sides of her, there was the one that was sorting me out, the one that was looking after me, regardless. So
I remember
telling
that story.
Yes, actually, quite often Shri Mataji was saying that people improve when they are out of the collective. If they are out of the collective for a while, they just, instead of putting their attention on other people, they put their attention on the connection with the divine. And
but also the negativity stops focusing on you, because you're not there. Yeah. But as you say, it could be risky, but
anyway, that's one of my chief claims to fame. So I was the first person to be thrown out of Sahaja Yoga.
Even if
so I was possibly the second. But you can't keep us away, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
But the thing is that in those days, Mother was still in contact. You know, it wasn't like because everything was so small.
Right.
Wasn't it, Pat?
Well, it was also so intense that all that power focused on, you know, 6 people or 7 people.
Yeah.
You know, it was extraordinary. You know, you're just swimming in vibrations, and all kinds of sort of extraordinary things would be going on. I remember once Mother was talking to me and Gus, and she was just playing with her hands, and I could see this ball of energy between her hands as if she was throwing it from one hand to the other. You know, and another time she was talking and she seemed to be floating off the ground like a sort of genie, you know.
I see that too.
You know, it was just amazing. All of it was amazing. And we just took it all for granted. It was, you know, Mother would ring up and say, CP's going away for a few days, you can all come, you know. We'd all rush over to our house and have these really intense weekends. And it was just extraordinary, all of it. And you just had to keep going. It wasn't difficult. It got harder later on. Once the collective got bigger, it's like Djamel was saying, you know, when you had pujas and everything, Mother would know exactly what's going on. And in fact, it went on quite a while that after a puja, each one of you would have to come up to Mother's feet, put your head on her feet. She would check your vibrations quite publicly, and everybody else would sort of be putting in their 10 cents as well. And I can remember being quite relieved in some ways when the collective got big enough to hide in. You know, we didn't have to do that anymore.
This is we're talking a big change from a handful of you, to when more seekers came in, and when Caxton Hall probably started in 79.
Well, it was a mixture of things, especially the people seekers' problems they were really heavy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
especially when the
Yeah.
people from TM came in, it was
Yeah.
massive.
That was crazy. They were just like howling like animals when they were worked on them.
Oh yeah, screaming, shouting. We had to turn the volume up in the ashram to drown all the screams from the neighbors. Because when we tried to say the mantras or clear their chakras, they'd scream literally like animals and roar and writhe in agony, and it was really, really out of this world. It's like there was a big spotlight showing exactly what evil was, you know.
Yeah.
And
So we've never seen anything like it.
in fact, Mother stopped it after a while. I think it was too much.
It was,
But there was no doubt after that it was evil. You know, I found that difficult because I, like a lot of hippies, you just believe everything is made of love, and it is, you know, because God is love. But until you get to that point, you know, you can't make that assumption because there's all sorts of other things going on lower levels. So it was all, I don't know, how can you say? I mean, so many times I kind of have to kick myself and think, were we really there? Did it really happen? You know, and you can't really fully realize it. And sometimes when you're deep in meditation and you come close to realizing what was really going on, it just kind of shocks you. You know, you're just stunned. You just can't believe it almost. It's
The
just
power and the vastness of it all, isn't it? Yeah.
oh, you know,
the reality of being with God, you know.
Yeah, yes.
It was real. We didn't not feel it. As I say, it was more the unreality of normal life that was hard to sort of.
Well, it was like that time Mother was in floods of tears over Christ's death. Wow. You know, sort of reliving it. You know, it was unbearable, and it was so intense and so visceral. You know, that I mean, the fact that this was a divine talking about things that had just changed the whole world, and we were just there, somehow, like these little kids. You know, somehow got onto
witnessing it.
scene. Yeah, it was extraordinary.
Yeah, completely. So when was it, Greshna, that you got your realization? Because we were talking about you the other day, Felicity and Alex, and they mentioned how actually you are the first person from Poland in England who got
from behind the iron curtain.
You are from yes,
the iron curtain.
And it was very crucial. Can you please elaborate on it and take us to those times there, please?
Yes, well, I came in to England in 1977, and I had difficulties leaving the country because I was on the blacklist, and so I was not allowed to leave. Really, I couldn't get my passport for 7 years, and in the end, in a miraculous way, I managed to get my passport. I came to England, and I was seeking. Then I started to seek, but interestingly, on the second day of my arrival in London, I went to it was Westminster Abbey, wasn't it? Next to the apartment where Shri Mataji lived. So I was actually there. Somebody took me there, and there was a sort of a mass. And I went. I was not really sort of a Catholic or a Christian, but I went there because it was a mass for all the Eastern Europeans. So I remember praying in a little chapel. I was praying for the experience that I had in Poland. Maybe I can find something which would continue the experience, because I had this experience of being one with the sort of nature and the universe in a way, because I just disappeared.
And if Mother had looked out of the window, then she would have been able to see you.
But I am sure she must have heard my prayers.
Yeah.
Because because I was there. So it was, and of course, then I stayed in the hostel in Holland Park. That's yet another place where later on there was a Sahaja Yoga program. And anyway, so and then so I was seeking, I was going to different groups, doing meditation, Hatha Yoga, quite a lot of Hatha Yoga. And just before I became, I was going to become a teacher, and somebody told me about Shri Mataji, and I came to the program, and then I had very strong experience. So, and then it was finished. My seeking was finished. It was completely obvious. That's where I arrived.
In 1977.
It was April 1980.
1980.
1977 I arrived, and for a few years I was seeking. In 1980 I got my realization, and haven't really looked back. I came to after my realization, I came to Shri Mataji's feet, because that's what was happening in Caxton Hall. Some people would come and see her, and they would just kneel, or they would just, I don't know, I don't remember, but I think, I was looking up at Shri Mataji, and she said, your problem is Vishuddhi. Your problem is here. Do you catch colds? I said, yes. She said, it will be okay soon. Still working on it, but yes.
Wow.
Soon is relative. So yes, it was bad. Everybody looked after me. It was like amazing, because there was there was a bigger number of people. Still not very big.
Would have been there, Maureen and Pat, like
Yeah.
a group of 7. How many of you would have been there?
What, 1980?
Yes.
Well,
hard to say.
What happened was that when we did the first public program, we jumped from 7 people to about 70. And that number remained fairly constant for quite a while, except the people used to change. Some people stuck on, and other people, but we were about 60 or 70.
Because Mother did a program at Caxton Hall every Monday, if you can imagine, every Monday. So and once a month we had the Great Hall, and even one normal room held at least, I don't know, 100 or so. But the Great Hall, I can't remember the capacity, but it was a big hall.
Yes, and it was a great hall, because when I came in April, it was this huge hall, and Shri Mataji was wearing a white sari, and there were these 2 huge lamps, the Indian lamps, on each side of Shri Mataji. It was quite impressive, really. Like
because go on.
And Mother's hair was sort of like floating. I don't know. It's just you're not used to it, in the West. Mother's hair was just very loose, and she was very. She was telling the TM people off. I remember this. And she said, you've been to TM, you've been to TM. I was really feeling sorry that I wasn't, because I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand what TM was, and what Shri Mataji was actually, what she was saying and why. But yes, she looked very strong, very powerful. Like she was just, I suppose, looking back now, she was fighting the negativity, because that's how she looked. And then she was, I remember the talk, she was talking about the oysters when they come, when they hatch, they come to the sea, and some of them make it and some of them don't. And I was thinking, which one am I? This was just before the realization.
But you tell about the first time you came to the ashram, Because the first time she came to the ashram, she walked straight into a full puja.
Yes, that was that was also interesting because Douglas was looking after the recording equipment.
Yes.
And at the second meeting, Shri Mataji wasn't there, so I asked him. I actually asked him, "Do you? There is an ashram, is there? Because I was used to ashrams, you see." And he said, "Well, yes." I said, "What is the address?" And he said, "Wow, I am not sure." He checked my Kundalini, and he said, "Okay, I suppose I can give the address."
Who is this then, Greshna? Which ashram was this?
This was
Dollis Hill.
this was Dollis Hill ashram.
Dollis
Dollis
Hill.
Hill ashram, yes. So I came to the ashram. It was on the 5th of May. That was shortly after I got my realization. Yes. So I walk in. There were all these lemons in the garden. I was wondering, thinking they are cultivating lemons. But anyway, so I walked in, and then everybody was waiting for something, and it was Sahasrara Puja. So I had no idea, I really. And Shri Mataji called me to do the puja. And the first thing I had to do was to draw swastika on her feet. So, I mean, for the Polish person, I couldn't. But to me, Shri Mataji, after that, whatever Shri Mataji would ask me to do, I would just do without question. So, so I did that, and then I had to. Then I was asked to do a havan, to sit in the havan, and that was 1,000
all thousand names with the
names, yeah.
With the
took
translation.
4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, I had no idea how long it would take, but I was quite used to sitting on the floor at the time, so it was okay for me. And then there was a music program, so it's all finished late at night. But I must say I was floating after the puja havan and everything. So it was, for me, it was such a great introduction to Sahaja Yoga.
It's the ultimate, really.
Ultimate introduction. Yes, exactly. So, wow, it was like
Sahasrara, amazing. And then you float out of it into the world.
Yes, but anyway, Shri Mataji looked at me, and I think it was the second or third meeting, and she said to me, "Why are you sitting down? You have to give realization to people." And so from that moment, I never stopped, because I just thought it was like a message. I just felt that's what I'm supposed to do. Probably nothing more important. Shri Mataji wanted me to do but this. So everybody has got their own job to do, I think.
Yes, it's fantastic because tomorrow you start the online Let's Meditate 21 days program, isn't it? And then the Ideal Home show is coming up soon, isn't it?
Yes.
Shri Mataji's birthday, the 21st of March, it starts, 17 days. Yeah. So we're just gearing up to get volunteers.
Yeah.
Yes. People must volunteer to everything. Yes,
What I can't understand, I can't seem to get it across to some yogis what an amazing experience it is.
I know.
It is like going to India. It's like a mini tour. You're there with yogis and you're just giving realization, and you get better through the day. When we first did it, we were absolutely done in. After 2 hours, we had to go out, sit about. It just is just, and it's not your hands, it's just Mother's hands.
Just an instrument of Shri Mataji, isn't it? I mean, unless it's done, you can't sort of express it.
You can't. And some people feel shy. They say, what if I can't explain? What if I can't feel? And you just somehow got to get across to people that it's not you. It's absolutely not you. I mean, poor Pat in India giving realization when he couldn't feel anything, and they'd all get it.
Yeah.
But you
until,
know,
until one of them put his hand over my head and said, "Sir, you are very hot."
but you remember, Maureen, we used to quite often. We used to somehow the shows were during the puja time,
Yes,
and
yeah,
actually we felt it was like a puja because the
absolutely.
vibrations are incredibly strong, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we prefer to do that during the puja time because it was like giving to Mother
absolutely.
something that she really wanted us to do.
Yeah. Well, we've got it with Mother's birthday this coming. It
Absolutely.
will be the same, and it's it's fabulous. It's absolutely, you just get taken to another realm doing it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
And
we have to save the world, you know.
yeah,
So we have to hurry up.
nice.
yeah.
Share with us some miracles, because I had this photo that was sent earlier. When did so we did the Finchley ashram,
Yeah.
and then there was a mention of Dollis Hill ashram where this
Oh, this ashram. Yeah.
and then what's the next ashram then? Where does
Chelsham
That'd be
Road.
Chelsham Road. Well, Chelsham Road was when Mark and I got married. We took the keys and opened it. So that was 20. We were married on the 24th of July. So the 25th of July 1980 was when we got Chelsham Road, when Linda bought it. We
that's
went in and
isn't it about
Mhm.
how the ashram was bought, how Shri Mataji.
that Linda bought it. Yeah, yeah. And now Chris has it, doesn't he?
Yes, thankfully it remains inside.
Yes. Because I mean, so much happened there. Pat and Gratian were married there.
So I was going to share the photo.
Yes.
So when was this marriage?
There is one photo that you have with Shri Mataji at the back, standing in a group that was in the garden of Chelsham Road. I sent it to you. I wonder if we could have a look at the photo. It's Shri Mataji standing in the garden, in front of the house.
The back of the house.
The back of the house.
But wasn't that? I'm not
That's
sure.
Chelsham Road. No, it's Chelsham Road.
But it looks like Dawn's wedding
No. I don't know.
to me. But that.
Well, what's your wedding photo here? I'll share with you because
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So that's Pat and Gresham.
That's our wedding
Yeah.
in
That's our
Chelsham Road.
wedding. That's our
Then
wedding.
because Maureen got married first and you got the keys to the house. So this is probably
Yeah.
later. Is it?
Oh, this was quite a lot later because we were building.
But the same year.
Building them, yeah. But a lot happened. Even a week was a long time in those days.
Yes. Yeah.
We were building the meditation room at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it wasn't that big.
We're standing in the meditation room, but it doesn't have a roof. It had plastic and balloons.
Yes. Yeah.
Above us.
Amazing, beautiful photo of the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
I look terrified.
Still managing to smile there.
Brilliant.
Lovely. Oh.
There were some other photos, weren't there? We saw quite a few, but I don't know whether they can appear easily or not.
Yeah, no, I'm going to share that the seminar ones. Just going to the first one that we had from we talked about this one.
Yeah.
That's
Moving forward.
Oh, this one, yes. There is
the one at the bottom
the
there.
one at the bottom. That's Chelsham Road.
No, that is not.
no. If you keep going down.
You go down.
Right at the first, right at the bottom of the first lot that you showed. That's those ones, yeah, yeah.
Down. This
Yes.
one, yes.
Oh, missed it again. Back.
Back.
No.
Yeah,
Where's
this
that
one. This is
Yeah.
Chesham Road, I
Is
think, yes.
Don't know, but who's that? That looks like Dawn in a wedding gown.
Down in the wedding, yes.
It might have,
Road
Maybe
then.
Might have been
after.
in Dawn and Tony's, but
yeah, but
they
I think that
were at
that might
Hester,
have been.
they were at Hester's flat, weren't they? But
Yeah, so that
they
might
were married. They
that
were
might
married before us.
that
So that's
might be
before
Hester's flat.
Chelsham Road. It
There's,
had to be if it's Dawn and Tony, it's before. So it's Hester's flat.
yeah, that's not Chelsham Road. It's
No.
Hester's flat.
Hester's flat.
Well,
I'm in
I
the,
don't know if that's her flat, but that's where they were married because their
yes,
flat was her
it's not.
parents'
If you,
place.
No, there's a house.
if you look
that's
at
not a
it, that's
flat.
not Chelsham Road actually.
No, it's
You
not.
can see.
So it could. It's not Dollis Hill. There's too many people. Although Mark's there, so it could be.
So it's a
And then-
mystery. It's a mystery.
Go back to it, and we'll look at who's in it.
Okay.
Greshna's there wearing a red scarf.
Yes.
I'm at the back
Where?
in front of the
Yeah.
window with a suit on.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's Kay Connell, isn't it? In front of Mark. Mark's got the red shirt on above the lady. He's got lots of hair.
Yeah.
That's
So,
Chaya.
no, to the red shirt above Chaya. That's Mark.
Wow.
God,
That's
blimey.
great.
And I think that's Linda to the right, the very far right.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
And who are
And
the ladies then?
I don't know.
Ladies.
Indian ladies.
There used to be like Indian families would appear, sort
And
of with mothers' connections sometimes. Although I don't remember because that's Christine above. I don't know who those two ladies are actually.
One of them might be Mrs. Gulani.
Mrs. Gulani, maybe. The
Remember,
one.
she had some places near Hampstead.
Yes, it could
somewhere.
be. Yeah.
beautiful.
Jim. I think that's Jim and
Hillary. Yeah.
And
We're
that's
in the-
me for some reason popped up there.
In Brighton
Yeah.
at the station.
Brighton Station.
Yeah.
And Neville and don't know who the other
Neville.
chap is.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna go this way. Where is this then?
I don't know where it is, but I think it's probably that same one where we were all on the steps with Mother.
Yes. Yeah.
And this one?
This was yet another seminar.
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't got my glasses on. No idea.
No.
That's Mio there on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Patricia Douglas behind Mother.
Yeah.
and Jane's there, so that could and also Oriel is quite young there. It's when they first
Yes.
came.
I think that's before she went to India.
I think Jane might even be expecting her baby there by the looks of it. So it's quite that's early 1980 or even But then Hester's there, so we'd have to find out when Hester came.
And this one?
Yeah, we looked at that one before. Rustom's there next to
Rustom's
Tony.
there, yeah, and you,
Bella.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Rages. So this is after the start of all and actually Marie's there, Pat.
Yeah.
If you look at the back, so it could be a bit
she
later
is.
on.
Could be later on,
She
yeah.
couldn't get back for 2 years, could she?
And that girl Sheila's at the back on the right top.
Oh yes, yeah.
The one that we saw it's the same. She was lovely.
And where is this then? Was the place of a seminar?
Yes, it was somewhere where you hired, you know.
Is that East Hampstead Park?
Yes.
Probably.
East Hampstead, yes.
And did Shri Mataji talk about using the hands to do artistic things or some sort of advice that she gave? Or do you remember any things that stand out you would like to share with us?
I don't know if it was all different. One minute, sometimes we'd be all lying on the floor holding hands and being chains of vibrations and
that's what she did at that seminar, was all hold hands. Do you remember?
I don't know.
Yes, I
in a
send
circle.
I send you the photos when all the yogis are lying on the floor taking vibrations from Mother.
This is Gregoire's garden again.
Yeah, back to 1977 in Kathmandu, yeah. But one of the things Mother said was that we had some people who were builders come, and his hands, it was Marilyn's friend, his hands were completely shot. He couldn't feel the vibrations because he'd damaged them doing building work. And that's when she told us to rub your hands with oil and salt to improve the sensitivity.
And then got me to do building work for about 20 years.
Well, you couldn't feel anything anyway. So.
I know. So it probably didn't matter with me.
Interesting.
And there's old David Baxter.
There's Lindsay, there's Mandy, Bogdan's first wife.
Bogdan's first wife, yeah. And Don Devine.
Don Devine, yes.
So
yes, we thought he was a mad seeker when he phoned up.
I took the phone call at Finchley Road, Ashram, and he said his name was Don Devine. I thought, oh my God, we got one of these mad gurus.
Yeah.
But he turned out to be great.
Yeah, it's a regular guy, yeah.
You need to tell them about David Baxter a little bit because nobody knows who he was.
Well, he was one of the early ones that stuck on and ended up staying in the ashram with us. He
But
was a reporter.
He was the one who actually advertised Sahaja Yoga. He wrote
an article for Yoga Today and managed to get a double-page spread in it.
Yes, and it did a lot, that article. We got a lot of connection with seekers from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But Mother said he couldn't stop being a reporter. So little bit sort of like he couldn't stop being inquisitive.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it makes you question too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
He always questioned everything.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about being a reporter.
I don't know what happened to him. I think he must have passed away. Because I used to see him quite often on the news. He'd be one of, when you see crowds of people with cameras and microphones around famous people, you'd see him there in the the group quite often. But then he sort of disappeared. But Mother still used to invite him. I remember at Judy Camp, she invited him to come and see her and have tea with her. And even when he wasn't really in the collective anymore, and gave him a watch.
Oh, wow.
And she looked after us all.
These are quite interesting.
This 1978 Guru Puja. I'm going to share some photos here. Just a moment. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to show the picture?
Yes, Maureen, please.
Okay, so we hired a place near to Regent's Park Road. I think, Pat, do you remember it was to the right, the where we came round the back? And it was some building that was originally where ink, I think it was Quink ink or something like that was made. And it was a beautiful building.
There's a lot of people there. Look, there's our candlesticks.
Yes.
Do you see on either side of the altar our cobra candlesticks?
All right. Cobra candlesticks.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell from the back who everybody is.
No.
Yeah, it's Avenue House on Eastern Road.
Actually, yes. So if you look it up, I think it was the original of either Quink ink or one of the old ink manufacturers. It was their building and it was beautiful.
Look how Shri Mataji's blessing.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
People would come and bow down, put their feet under their hands underneath Mother's feet, and then put their.
And of course, in the early days when it was just a few of us, we'd sometimes be like that for 2 hours.
Wow.
While Mother worked on each one of us.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
What a lovely photo of London.
Oh,
yeah.
Majesty's joy on her
So
face.
nice.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh.
And
that might be that same place.
It might, because it looks a bit grand, doesn't it, for any of us?
Yeah.
Talk surgeries, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So how...
That's me. It's the back of my head.
Gosh. So it's a bit of just a bit of a silly question, really, but how did she get from her residence to these various locations around the city or the country? I mean, did yogis drive her?
No, we didn't have cars. Only
Well, later on she did.
yeah. But
I
basically,
mean,
she
the
came in
first
her
meetings,
official car.
she used to catch a train
Yes.
by herself or with one of her servants, catch
Or
a
a
train from her screen to Victoria, and
Right.
then
And then
she
get a
would get a
taxi.
taxi.
Mm.
Because one day I turned up early at 160 North Gower Street, and there was Shri Mataji waiting outside in the street by herself. There's nobody else was there,
Oh.
and she used to do all sorts of things. We often spent time with her at the in that hotel at Victoria, didn't we? Eating
Yeah,
cucumber
yeah.
sandwiches and
Yes.
posh tea and stuff.
Wow.
It's still there. You can still go and take
Yeah,
tea
well, we
where we
went
took
there.
We
tea.
went
We
there.
did.
We went there with
Went there
Gregoire,
with
didn't we?
Gregoire. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
the-
I got the tube with Shri Mataji out to do
Well,
that
yeah,
first
we all
meeting.
did once or twice. I can remember being on the tube with Mother and her,
Mm.
just busy talking as usual about life and the universe and everything.
Wow.
And
Well,
I
that's when.
remember,
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I remember there was this, one of the huge posters on the underground was of this woman doing some contorted ballet thing where she was leaning right backwards and contorted. And Mother said, "Look what you've done to the goddess."
Ooh.
He was standing in front of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's East Hampstead Park again.
Yeah.
And
yes, it's.
and how would you get news of where she wanted to meet you?
Just telephone.
By
She would
phone.
telephone us.
But then later on, the famous phone tree. There was a phone
Yes.
tree, and
Yes.
each person that got a message was supposed to pass it on to two or three other people. But if somebody missed it, whole branches of the tree got missed out on.
Down. Yeah.
Yes, this is in the days of
There was remnants
WhatsApp
of
and
the
social
phone
media.
tree left when I got my realization.
Really?
Yeah.
Remember that phone tree thing?
But when we were in some of the early ashrams, we didn't have phones even in the building. Never mind mobile phones. So I don't know how we did all these things. But even in the ashram, I remember Nightingale Lane. Some of the people in the ashram actually missed the puja because nobody told them when it was. And they did the spontaneous puja early the next morning, and a few of them got up and discovered it had already happened. So all sorts of things went on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Gosh.
That's unbelievable times, isn't it? It's
Yes. Yeah. Well, you just got looked after, you just happened to be in the right place at the right minute or whatever it was, and you just couldn't bear to miss it. So you always made sure.
You made it. Yeah.
Oh, if you possibly could get there, yes, you would.
Mm.
And when I was working in the park, I used to all I had to do was report in for tea breaks, actually. The rest of the time I was supposed to be on patrol. And I used to hop down to the tube and go to Euston and spend 2 or 3 hours with Shri Mataji, and then come back for tea break and all covered in kumkum and oil and got away with murder, really. It's quite crazy.
I remember you're telling you were a bit miffed when you left that job because it was a bit of a cushy number.
Yes, I had some really good jobs I got, and Mother wouldn't let me keep them. The best one I ever got was the working for the BBC, shifting all the scenery and putting up scenery for filming and everything. And it was brilliant money, brilliant holidays, brilliant days off, everything. I was so pleased, and Mother said, "No, that's not good enough for you." And I ended up in Harrods selling cakes and bread.
And when Mother told Pat that he had to go and work in Harrods, I said, "Yes, Pat, you should do it." And Mother turned around to me and said, "Yes, and you too." And I had a good job too.
We were all in Harrods, weren't we? You were in You were in
Yeah,
flowers
the
or
flower
something.
department, and you were in the bread department, and we were learning the arty, and you would pass me with the bread, trundling along, going, "Tapakutua."
Yeah. We'd all meet up for lunch in the cafeteria, say
Yeah.
lunches and things.
Brompton Square is walking distance from.
It is, yes. There's no accident. Yes.
Yeah, but that was well before
Yeah.
Brompton Square.
How did you morph into plumbing, Pat?
That was because I don't know. Mother just said that we needed to do something useful.
That's it.
To do things, and I was going to do plastering because I started off doing plastering for in Brompton Square, making the molds, which eventually John Watkinson took over, and I was going to become a plasterer and incorporate that. And when I went to try and get on a course to do it, they were all full up, and the only one that was empty was plumbing, so I took that one.
Okay. And then you worked on numerous.
Huge amount. I mean, with the housing co-op, we got so many buildings.
Yeah, they just gave us free buildings. Yeah.
Well, hotels, all massive great places all over the place, and we did a lot of work in them. Around where we met Mother. Where was it that we met Mother, Maureen?
King's
Judd
Cross,
Street.
you mean?
Judd Street.
No, Judd Street. Yes, Clare Court, Judd Street.
Clare Court, Judd Street.
Just a short walk from King's Cross.
Yeah, well, around there we had ashrams. And we put toilets and heating and all sorts of things into them. All around Camden, we had them all over the place. Gas fires. We had all sorts of things, and then we had the ones in Earl's Court, the hotel, Warwick Road was massive. Warwick Road, we were in there the first night when we got the building, and we thought it would be a good idea to put 3 candles in the window to symbolize the 3 channels and the goddess protecting them, and probably got raided by the police who thought we were squatters, and they were very suspiciously searching everywhere and picked up a thing of kumkum. Said, "What's in here then?" And then poof, there's kumkum everywhere. It's crazy. There's always crazy stuff like that going on. So many mad situations.
Yeah.
And the Kundalini was, the vibrations were just looking after everything.
Yes. Tell us more about the housing co-op and how it started. Was it after
It started with Jason Copeland. He was this guy a new yogi who had a he had
knew about cooperatives and all that sort of thing.
And he also had lots of contacts. So he just we started getting all these places, and all we had to do was move in there and look after the place and then leave. We didn't have to pay rent or anything.
When was remind us the time frame?
It's like 1981, because I can remember being in Warwick Road when Athena was a few months old.
We were living in Warwick Road in 1981, yes.
Yeah, and Nightingale Lane, it was massive. Nightingale Lane, it was
enormous.
Absolutely. Well, that's why some people miss the puja, because it was so big. There were people stashed away in different rooms all over the place. That's where we had that
giant garden for London, wasn't it? Remember, we had the puja out in the back.
Yeah. It's quite a well-known one.
Everyone came from Europe.
And Mother moved into the hotel in Brahman Gardens with CP, and she was there for some time, and loads of yogis, all sorts. I mean, it all just seemed like magic, Mother would just say, "You just have buildings, we'd have them," but I don't think we lived up to them because it stopped eventually. I think if we had, our caliber had been better, we managed better and worked better and achieved more, it would have probably carried on.
So this is before Chelsham Road Ashram, is that right?
Yeah. No. Chelsham Road was 1980, Pat.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
can't.
we got
It's
the
hard to
key.
remember because we
I
had
mean,
Joe.
1981, because Athena was about 3 months old, so that was
I was
April
living,
she was
we were
born.
married in Chesham Road, 1980.
I know we
Yeah.
were. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
But
but it's definitely 81 in Warwick Road.
Yeah.
So later on, there were all these ashrams, Nightingale
Yeah,
Lane.
and then
also-
Nightingale Lane was a bit later still.
Yeah, yeah.
82.
I think Athena was a toddler, and we might even have had Innocence, so like 82. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it went on for a few years.
So why did Shri Mataji want ashrams? I mean, I'm assuming this is on her.
She said it was very important to be collective.
Yeah, right
very,
from the
very important.
right from the word go, she was interested in that. And in fact, as we said,
Collective living.
she arranged them for us. The first two, she paid the deposit and found the whole thing arranged for us to go there.
Paid the first 3 months' rent.
Yeah.
But I mean, we wanted it as well. We wanted to live together. I mean, it was,
well, it was
wanted to be with yogis.
Difficult if you're on your own, mixed up with other people.
Yeah.
So we just
anyone who had their own place was kind of a bit left out. Do you remember Dougie had his own place and Tony lived with his parents, and they were a little bit not left out, but like you were in the hub. Where mother visited,
But something that Shri Mataji told us, it was the opposite. Because we probably would have wanted to live in ashrams all the time, but Shri Mataji told us nothing better than your own place.
Wow. Well, she always gave you every.
Like
it depends on the
you've got every scenario. Yes,
it's for individuals, So she told us.
She was very keen on ashrams. She said we needed to live collectively, and that's very necessary. It really knocks all your rough edges off. If you're having to get on with a lot of other people and all the time.
Yeah.
But interestingly,
I suppose.
Well, even when we had our own place, we had yogis come and live with us. So
exactly, because our house was we had like yogis living with us all the time, so we just made it. Okay, we made it into
and new people coming around
and
all
new
the time.
people coming.
Yeah.
Was that the one in Clacton?
No,
Camden.
Our house was in Camden.
Our first place, we got a place in Camden, yeah.
Gosh, okay.
And we were in East London. We had Gail and Graham and William, and we had Rosie and Billy and her daughter, and John and Kathy and their daughter.
Amazing. Wow.
But you really were just a big family. You really were. That it was only the yogis that understood. We were all a bit mad.
Yeah.
So we are in 78 here on the photos. I'm trying to get some photos on from 1981. Is that when the Cheltenham Road ashram?
1980 it started.
1980.
Yeah.
Just
1980. Let's see.
So just to Cheltenham Road, my understanding, very limited, was the establishment of I don't know, Sri Ganesha or the New Jerusalem, or
Mother talked about that. Yeah.
What
was that about?
And the foundation stone is in the front garden of Cheltenham Road, and Shri Mataji put the foundation stone with some soil from India, and she said this is the foundation stone of the New Jerusalem.
Okay.
And if you read one of Blake's poems, he talks about that area. Describes where Cheltenham Road is, basically.
Mother used to come there a lot. We did a lot of pujas there and all sorts of things.
Okay, now there's some beautiful photos of Shri Mataji.
I think there's also a Blake reference about something about a grain of sand that the devil can't find, or something, or that.
You have to ask Lewis.
You have to ask Lewis. Yes,
he will know.
These are lovely photos of Shri Mataji from 1980s. Please tell me once it is. This is when she's going to have dinner with the Prime Minister at that time.
That looks like Ashley Gardens.
It does. Yeah, really does.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Mm,
definitely Ashley Gardens.
yeah.
When she met Margaret Thatcher.
Probably.
No,
Well, she did.
and Margaret Thatcher gave her rhubarb crumble, and Mother said it was such a lowly thing to have given to guests from the Prime Minister.
Something
She
about
was-
being a weed in India or something, rhubarb.
Yeah, it was a lowly dish. There was something about it that was
Okay.
it was like she was trying to make a point about her background, the Prime
Okay.
Minister, because she was a shopkeeper's daughter, wasn't she?
Greengrass is, yeah, that's right.
And Mother said it wasn't correct, it wasn't proper.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, this is definitely in her house, I think. Oh no, this is Caxton. Oh no. Yeah, I think that's Caxton Hall, that chair,
Caxton Hall,
Pat.
yes,
Could be,
yes,
yeah.
Definitely Caxton Hall.
yes.
They had all these grand chairs.
Yeah. Goodness.
Incredible.
Yeah.
There's
This
Bala there.
man.
Oh, that's Caxton Hall, you see.
Yeah,
So that,
that's probably the Great Hall.
yeah.
There.
Well,
Well, no,
the
that-
Great Hall had a dais, a
That
big
looks
raised.
that looks a bit like something semi-official.
It
Yeah.
does, because
The
there's
one
a
before.
dining table.
It wouldn't have been
Oh,
Oh,
No,
it's
it can't be.
like
Can't,
the Advent.
it's the Advent. It's
the
the Advent. That's
publication
the
of the Advent.
Indian High Commission. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Kathy. Yeah.
That's not Caxton Hall.
No, it's the Indian
Oh
High
no,
Commission.
no, it's the Indian High Commission in.
I remember I had terrible flu, and Gregor said, "You've got to go, even if you are dropping dead."
Yeah.
This is the birthday puja at Bharati Vidya Bhavan in London.
Yes. Yeah. That was in West London, because the first Bharati Vidya Bhavan was in New Oxford Street. That's where Tony met Mother. And then they moved it to this place in West London. It was quite new. It had a big thing of Gandhi on the back. And that's me and Kathy doing the puja.
That's you, isn't it, Maureen?
That's me on the right. Yeah.
Goodness.
Amazing how you do that to Shri Mataji, isn't it? It's just
Yeah. So we were the unmarried girls.
Okay.
no.
Yes, of course. Wow. Oh,
Incredible. This is somewhere else. This is Brighton, it says, College Gardens. That's Pam's house.
gosh.
Yeah, she had an amazing place.
Yeah.
Yes, lovely batik of Sri Ganesh.
Mm.
Yes.
Which Pamela's house.
Beautiful.
Lovely, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, who's that?
Oh,
That's what's her
lovely.
name?
Oh, lovely.
What was her name?
I
Do you
don't
mean
know.
Annika?
Yeah,
Was it?
yeah,
Yeah,
something like
Annika.
that. She
So
was, somebody's.
Aniki, that's it. Yeah, the
Aniki.
girl, Aniki, the girl got her realization in Hampstead Town Hall. I can remember Mother talking about people behaving badly and sort of having relationships and all that. And she burst into tears and said, "Mother, I've been depraved," or something, because she'd had this child, but it's a very sweet child. And she called her Aniki, but I think that's a Finnish or Polish, not Polish, you'd know that, Christian, wouldn't you? Finnish name or something that meant some, but it sounded like she had called her Anarchy, as in,
Yeah.
yes, but it wasn't. It was a foreign name, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
lovely.
can't remember the mum's name actually, but it turned out that Guillemette taught her and met her there, and she always knew she was a seeker, so she'd met her as a teacher before the mother.
Oh,
Oh,
now
look at that!
Oh,
Oh wow! There's Malcolm and
David.
David.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's Mary Amelia, isn't it, on Mother's right?
Yes,
And Mary Law,
Yeah.
And where is
Christine,
that?
and Marie. This looks like it's abroad and Marcus at the back,
Marcus,
or in
yeah.
an airport. I think it's an airport even.
It's London.
Visiting Swiss and English Sahaja Yoga is London.
Might be
right.
London.
And that's
And then
the
we're back to Dulles Hill Ashram.
into
Oh, this is my puja.
Yes.
My
Yes.
first puja, yes.
So you must be that person down there.
Yes. Yeah, wait a minute. Can you
No,
go back? Go
I
back.
don't think you can.
Go back. to the. Oh yes, this is me.
with
Oh,
the
that's
In,
waistcoat.
you.
in
Yeah.
red. Can
Yes,
you
Yes.
see this? I
I
was
Yes.
wearing a red.
yes, that's your dress.
Waistcoat
My
sort of
dress.
thing.
Oh my God!
Oh, you'll
Yeah,
stay on
there
it.
you
It's
go.
amazing.
Isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Lovely.
So that's
I
just in the
can't
bay
believe
window,
it.
Dollis Hill.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah. They lend themselves bay windows, don't they, to this?
Mm, mm.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
We'll do
Gosh.
Shri Mataji again and again.
Yeah, amazing.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, now there's a photo. Yes. Gosh.
And she has two
Cup
bindis
of
here.
tea. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Two what? Sorry.
Two kumkum, so she's got it the hamsa as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And a cup of tea. I mean, I'm going to ask a really stupid question. Shri Mataji, cups of tea. Did she appear to really like a good cup of tea?
She didn't have any tea until she was 40.
Okay.
She said she'd never drunk it, but her husband drank it. So in the end, she had it. She used to have Prestige tea that she bought from Oxford Street, from the
Okay.
Prestige Tea Company. We used to go and buy it, the tea leaves.
You remember she said it does a little damage to your intestines, but you need some glue to keep you together.
Oh, really? And with milk and sugar, I'd imagine.
Yes.
Yes.
Look, that's quite early on, isn't it? That photo.
It is, yeah, because there's Malcolm right at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
1980.
Dawn's there,
Yeah.
Gosh.
So it's
and
probably
Pam,
just
and
as
Linda,
yeah, gosh. And there's a
and
fair few.
Kathy.
Yeah, there's me again with that. Oh, that's it, that same bench.
Yeah.
That's because I haven't got glasses on for
Where
some
are
reason.
you?
There.
And that's Mark at the top
Yeah.
right. Can you see on the
Yes.
top
Oh,
right? That's Mark.
Yeah.
That's Mark. So presumably I'm there somewhere.
Is that Felicity over on the left? Looks a bit like her.
Yes, that's her. Next to Kathy, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
What closest to
this
Shri
one.
Mataji?
Oh yes, yeah, I can
Yeah,
see
it looks like her.
Felicity.
Is that
Okay.
Pam?
That's
Yes, that's Pam.
And
Yeah.
Bala.
Yeah.
yes,
Wow, amazing. What year is this?
Yeah.
1980.
Good gosh. Incredible.
Ray Harris taken this photo
Yeah.
credits.
There we are again.
Yeah.
When was the seminar?
No.
That's amazing. So
That's me next to Kathy.
Mm.
So it's Pam, Kathy, and then me, and then Anne Lewis.
Where was the seminar?
I can't remember exactly.
It's
I
in
was
old
there. I was-
Alresford. It's old Alresford.
Oh yes, I was there, my first seminar, but I'm not in the picture because I was quite shy because I was new.
It was a
It
lovely
was
house.
amazing. It was amazing, the seminar.
Look, Jay Sahaja Yoga. You see that sign at the top?
Yes.
It's just the end of. Because Mother told us that Satya Yoga was beginning.
started.
Wow.
Amazing.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, Jai Shri
There we
Mataji
are.
Yeah.
Yoga, Satya Yoga.
Wow.
Jai Maha. Oh, Jai Mataji, Jai Satya Yoga, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Stonehenge.
And that was that
Yeah.
same one because that's
Stonehenge.
that same seminar, Gajna, because we
Yeah.
went to Stonehenge
Yes.
with Mother.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very famous
You
iconic
can see
photo.
Sri Ganesh in some of the uprights.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
can see his profile.
Mm.
Amazing. Gosh.
Very clear. In 1981, they said
Yeah.
so.
Mm.
So, I don't know if you
Well,
remember, but how did that come about? What, she just phoned up and said, let's go to Stonehenge? And you
Yeah.
all went,
No, it was a seminar, and Mother said, "Let's go for a drive."
Okay.
Everyone got into their cars, and we all set off in a long crocodile. And every time we came to a roundabout, Mother said, "Go round while we decide which is the best way to go." And we'd all go round and round, and then she'd choose one, road to take off, and we'd set off that way. And at every roundabout, we lost 2 or 3 cars. and by the end, there was only about 3 or 4 cars left, and we somehow ended up at Stonehenge.
Wow. Amazing.
Mataji eating ice cream there.
Mm.
Must have been a hot day.
Was that when Mother bought ice cream for everyone?
Yes,
Goodness.
yes. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Big photo, Shri Mataji.
Oh, so I should ask the question because we're still filming, aren't we?
Yes.
So I did.
Yeah.
Pestis
Yes.
mother's house.
Yeah, that's back to Dawn and Tony's wedding.
Yeah.
They were married at
Okay.
it was at Tony's at
Well,
Hester's parents' flat.
We went to the flat, but they were married in the Temple of All Faith, weren't they?
Yes, yeah, but the reception, sorry, was
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And this is
And she-
Pamela's house. yes.
Pam's again, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Wow.
So I was going to ask, what did Shri Mataji say about Stonehenge when you were there, or?
Not that much, particularly. She particularly didn't like the stones, the sideways stones, you know, that were laid on top.
Okay.
Yeah, because that had been done later,
spoiling
hadn't it?
Okay. Mm.
Wow, this is amazing.
To all the viewers, the photos we are sharing, you have to take, if you wanted to use it, please take permission from the website it's being shared from. Do not use it without permission.
Mm.
What an expression on Shri Mataji's
Yeah.
Mm.
face. Wow.
Goodness, blessings. It must be.
That's the wedding.
Yeah.
It's a wedding. Yeah.
Whereabouts would that be? Temple of All Faiths. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Mark.
our wedding.
Yes.
That's mine. I thought it was.
It's arranging
The turban. There was a story for it, wasn't it?
Yes, there was. Yes, it
John
started to come
Hopkinson in that other
undone.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I can call Mark in for the talk to say about it if you like. Hold on
Do.
1 minute.
I'll pause
Hold
it.
on. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get- Are you muted?
Off or
No.
Okay.
Ooh.
So here we have Mark, Maureen's husband, joining us now. Thank you, Mark.
Aye, quite welcome.
Would you
So,
please?
oh right, do you want the story of the turban?
Yes, please.
Right. Well, there was another wedding going on at the time. There were 2 weddings in parallel, and the groom in the other wedding was a young Indian boy. So, I'm not going to be archetypal or stereotypical, but in true Indian style, he looked like a Maharaja. He looked like the most gorgeous princeling you've ever seen, and the family were there, and they all looked fantastic. They're all very well turned out and absolutely sumptuous. His costume, and I was stood there. I was very skinny, a skinny 21-year-old,
Yeah.
in a white cotton kurta and a
Wow.
pajama. And
Wow.
mother said to me, "Where is your turban?"
Oh.
Oh, more than oh. And I'm thinking, what do I say? I haven't got a turban, mother. So mother looked at me, "Here, take this." And she handed me one of her saris. And I was stood there. And I met mother a couple of years before. I met mother in 1979. This was
This is
1980.
yeah.
So I stood there like this with mother's turban in my hands. Mother knew what I was thinking, but I'll tell you, I was thinking, what do I do with this?
Mm.
And mother obviously knew that. So she, oh, give it to me. And she started winding this turban round.
Oh.
And as you can see, that's mother's sari. So
Yes.
she sort of stood back a little, looked at me, says, "Where's your brooch?" And
Ah.
I'm stood there with a turban on. And I'm thinking, as you're all thinking, I haven't got a brooch. Or use this. So she took the brooch from a sari
Oh, wow.
But so that's the brooch. That's Mother's sari brooch on the turban.
Wow.
So that was that. And this is from a little bit, the pictures from a little bit later in the proceedings.
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful.
They've got a dhoti on.
yeah, but I don't really remember that. But anyway,
Yeah, the
so
tone
we
and
were, the
drama.
ceremony was going on, and Mother had found Pandit
Yes.
to do the ceremony. And he had the brightest, most electric orange kurta you have ever seen. It looked like he was plugged into the mains. And he was talking. I've never heard anyone speak so fast. It was like a hummingbird. You couldn't hear words. And just about everything he said, Mother said, no, don't say that, say this. And she corrected him at just about, I'm thinking, just about everything he said. Mother corrected him, said, don't say that, say this. So we're going out. So we're tied together
With the garlands.
with garlands and tied together with a scarf. And so we were walking around the fire. And every time we went round, we would kick a pile of rice away. And then we go around again. And as we were walking, I was probably sweating a lot. It was very warm in there. So I'll take my glasses off. As we were walking, this turban was going like that. Another step. Another step like that. Another step like that. And I was thinking, this is my wedding, and everyone's going to remember my wedding. But Mother's sari falling into the fire.
Oh.
And I was like this, and another step. Mother said, stop! And everything stopped. And she came, stood behind me. And that's the picture where she's putting my turban right so that it didn't end up in the fire.
Yeah.
And after the ceremony, we were still tied together. And as I said, the other couple, the groom was a young Indian boy, and there was sort of like a fleet of Mercedes ready to whisk them away. So they whisked them away to a big reception somewhere. And Mother said, what are you doing to Maureen and I? Oh, we don't know, Mother. Oh, come with me, she said.
That's
And so we was. I'm a big lad now, but I was sort of quite skinny, but the same shape, but skinny. And we were sat in the back of Mother's Merc, and I remember it was 907D102 was the registration number, because I was privileged and frightened enough to drive that a little bit later for Mother. And so we were in the back of Mother's Mercedes like this, still tied together, and we went to Mother's apartment in Ashley Gardens, right beside the Catholic Cathedral in Victoria, Westminster Cathedral. And she showed us to a room. She said, oh, you go in there. Showed us to one of the guest bedrooms. And so Maureen was just sat like this, like a pair of lemons, really, still tied together, still with all the gear on. And there's some dispute here. Maureen says Mother came in to see us. And I think we were stuck there like lemons. And eventually we thought, well, this is not polite, you know. All right. Well, anyway, so either Mother came in to see us or we went out. But she untied. No need for that anymore. And so she untied us. And then she was watching the telly. So she said, oh, and she was watching a film. And I can't remember. Dreadful. I can't remember the film, but it was a film with Betty Davis in.
Oh.
And so she said, come and watch this. She's really good. So Betty Davis, you know who Betty Davis is, a fantastic golden age actress from Hollywood. So we did that, and we had tea with Mother, and we went to bed. And next morning, CP was in. He wasn't away wherever he used to go on his international duties. He was at home, and we had breakfast with Mother and CP, and he was absolutely lovely. He was. We all know it is in his formal life, in his official life, he was a top UN diplomat. He was a top UN diplomat. He was head of the IMCO that it became. So he was a diplomat on the world stage. And he was so nice to us. And so he said, so thank you for staying your wedding night with us. It's so auspicious. And we were just like,
Yes.
Really? Yeah, thank you very much for that.
We thought he'd just been polite.
Yeah, I thought he was, but he was just so genuine and so lovely about it. And Mother took a phone call from Linda Pierce, Linda Williams, as she is now, and it was Linda telling Mother that she'd signed all the papers for Cheltenham Road.
Oh.
So Mother said, "Oh, you should go and pick the keys." It was very auspicious for newlyweds to open the new house. So we went. I can't remember where we went, but we got the keys, and we were sort of the first Sahaja Yogis into Cheltenham Road, and we opened up that.
First
That's it.
of Cheltenham Road.
Yeah, and there was bizarrely there was still someone in there.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Weird. It was, and we
Yeah.
walked in there, and it was I'm not being pejorative at all, but it was a little old lady,
Oh.
and she was sat at the back in one of the
upstairs,
the first floor in the back bedroom, sat in an armchair, and she wasn't the heiress, but her father, I think, had started Cowan Gate.
Wow.
Oh wow!
Which, yeah,
It's a
Cowan
big
Gate, the baby for, yeah.
that we give to the children.
Yeah, well, yeah. Everyone who's had kids of our sort of age knows who Cowan Gate is. Yeah, but she was lovely. She was, she was just waiting to be picked up by a son, I think.
Oh.
So that was just so strange, Yeah, and that's it. That's the end of the wedding story and the turban story.
You got more than you bargained for.
I can't stop talking when I start. So I will say thank you very much. Goodbye now, I love you all, and I'm going to go and make more. She's been very polite and very patient, Maureen.
Yes,
But
thank
if
you.
the dinner's not ready, you wouldn't want to get me to bother, would you?
It's a very nice reminder, Mark. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. You must come for dinner. I'll cook.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Yes,
Thank
love
you.
to. Thank you very much, Mark. Okay.
Because you're both up north, aren't you? Both.
We are. It's fun.
How far are you from each other?
Middlesbrough and Sheffield.
80. Is it 80 miles or 100, Pat?
Well, it's not that. It's only about an hour and 10 minutes drive or something.
No, 2 hours.
No,
Is it?
I think it
It's an
doesn't
hour
seem
and a
more
half.
than-
When we go past Sheffield, it's nearly 2 hours from here.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that long. I don't know why.
So,
But anyway,
yeah, Mark's from Middlesbrough. Anyway.
Middlesbrough. Yeah.
But you're not from Middlesbrough, are you? You're not northern, are you?
Me? No, not at all. Pat and I were born in Hong Kong. We're colonial.
That was it, Hong Kong. You're colonial.
Yeah. No, I just our children went to university up here. They seem to feel that they're half Middlesbrough, which they are.
Yeah.
And of course we visit his family, and so we've come up here, and it's a wonderful place to live. The people are so friendly.
Good open-hearted people.
Absolutely open-hearted. Well, they're all like Mark, so
They're different.
a bit scary, but
And Pat and Grace, you moved up there to be nearer to Maureen and Mark. I don't know.
No. They moved first.
It's 2 hours.
We came up here because it had a nice collective and they had a nice Sahaj Centre.
Yes, the Sahaj.
Really,
basically. Going the centre? Yeah.
No, it's been we lost it because the landlord gave it to us cheap, while he didn't have any tenants for the offices.
Okay.
Then he got some tenants, so we had nowhere, and so Shirley's volunteered her garage, which she's done up, and she even got the mayor to come and open it.
No way.
She's amazing. She's amazing, Shirley. She's really.
And it's incredibly successful.
A little for one car garage. No.
Well, it's slightly bigger than a one-car garage, but
oh no, it's bigger than that.
A bit bigger. But it's quite successful. I mean, last week we had 5 new people, and there's about 15 of us there. And a lot of them say it's really handy because they live in the area. You get a lot of people there.
So like a converted garage workshop.
Okay.
Yeah,
she did it out, didn't she?
She used to use it as her art studio.
Okay.
We have all the furniture from the previous center there.
Well, some of it.
So
We also have a meeting in a hall that we hire on Wednesdays.
In the city centre.
Yeah.
So what's the size of how big is the Sheffield collective?
I don't know. It's about 15 yogis, maybe a few more. But there's also yogis dotted about Leeds and Manchester and Nottingham. You know, they're all over. So if we all come together, there's quite a few people.
We used to have seminars quite often when we had
we had the big centre, we'd have like 60 people.
Yes.
For Saturday and a Sunday seminar. It was great.
And Shri Mataji, she'd been to Sheffield.
She's been to Sheffield.
Yeah, and to Middlesbrough. She came.
Wow.
Oh yes, yeah. And last year when we had the Northern tour, we tried very hard to find somewhere in Middlesbrough to host the group coming. Yeah. And in the end, we ended up at the university where Shri Mataji came 40 years almost to the day.
Mm.
So we showed the talk from when Shri Mataji was in Middlesbrough, talking about Middlesbrough. Yeah. So yeah, there's only Mark and I. Conversely, there's only two of us, but it's doing very well up here. So we've been invited to the hospitals to go and give Sahaja Yoga to the staff once a month, and so that's working out pretty well. So, and we're having our follow-up meetings in the Friends Meeting House where the follow-up meetings were 40 years ago as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. If you watch that talk, they videoed the entire meeting, including the after bit where Mother worked on people and talked.
Oh yes.
It's a fabulous to have a window into what happened then is amazing, because even when Steve, our friend, gets up to say when the follow-up meetings, Mother will say, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Just to make sure, you just repeat that, like, even though she was working on 1 million people and there were people everywhere, she heard that and said, "Just a minute, you need to repeat that." Kind of. So it's an incredible talk to watch. Yeah.
Yes, we certainly will. Which reminds us that we should actually thank you, Pat, Maureen, Greshna, for coming to this session of Golden Memories and taking us through the years till the beginning of Cheltenham Road and the stories that you've shared with us. Thank you so much. We've got this meditation, the Let's Meditate, starting tomorrow. So we have an online meditation soon. Plus we have some dinner to fix before that. So it is so very sweet of you to join us and share your stories. Thank you so much. Powerful. Shankaji, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, great.
It's just amazing.
Thank you so much for organising this. It's amazing.
Exactly. Thank you for your time and for your efforts.
Yeah, it's good that it's been
over
done.
the years. Yes.
Thank you so much for the photos you shared as well. Thank you. Jai Shri Mataji. For everything.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.